guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine. Today is not a Saturday, it is a Sunday, and I am posting this video late because basically it's a big build and there's a lot of detail that I made sure that I tried to replicate, so it just took me a little bit longer than normal to complete, so I hope you don't mind that it's posted late on my channel. But if you don't already know, if you're new here, then I am in the middle of creating a Gilmore Girls save file, and I post Gilmore Girls videos at the minute every Saturday with the exception of today. So if you're a fan of the show and you're interested in seeing those, then I will leave a link to the playlist in the video and down in the description so you can check that out if you're interested. But I am so excited about this one. Like I said, it was a big task and I think it turned out really well. I had to make quite a few sacrifices. I'll get into that in a little bit more detail when you see me furnishing the interior. Basically, I wanted the exterior to look how we see it in the show with this gravel drive and the barn next door, because obviously they have stables and they have horses. Because if you remember, a couple of the episodes where we get to see the horses include one where I think all of the rooms are booked out for a party or something like that. It might be the medieval party that they have and they're unable to come because of the snow, and Lorelai obviously loves snow and is upset that snow has done this to her because she was really looking forward to this medieval party that she's arranged. Instead of letting it go to waste, she invites all of her friends from the town to come, and part of the experience is to have a ride on a horse-drawn carriage. So that's really sweet. We see them then, and then we also see them in the episode where I can't remember what happens, but one of the horses just makes its way into the inn and no one does anything about it, and Lorelai is like to Suki and Michelle, why is Cletus in our living room? And no one seems to notice or care. Those are obviously two episodes where we get to see lots of the interior as well. And in terms of the interior, I start with a library, which is an interesting choice. Actually, the reason why I did this is because I was trying to figure out the floor plan, because basically I made the build too small. I mean, the lot is too small for the build essentially. So I made the build and then I realised there wasn't enough room for all of the rooms that we actually see in the series, and I kind of thought later on maybe I could have just put, like, for example, the library upstairs. I think in the show Suki might have like an extra kitchen room here in the build in terms of the layout, so where her kitchen is looks through into another room and it's just like an extra storage, an extra kitchen area. I think they do a lot of desserts there maybe, or that might be the independent inn that I'm thinking of, but definitely there's something else here. If you don't recognise this room immediately, because I know it's not one that you see that often throughout the show, the library I think is where Lorelai goes to write Luke's personal reference for when he's fighting Anna in the sort of childcare debacle for April. Yeah, he obviously asks Lorelai to write him a personal reference letter and she's having writer's block and she comes in here and basically messes around when she's supposed to be writing his letter. But then actually that's one of my favourite episodes because she ends up writing the sweetest and most wholesome letter ever, and I think it brings a tear to my eye every time I watch it because I am just a giant mush ball. If you don't already know, I am so soppy. I cry at everything. I didn't always used to be like this. I didn't used to cry very often at films at all, but now I just cry at the drop of a hat. And then next we go on to the dining room. This was a really iconic room for me. I definitely remember the green chairs, and I was so grateful that we just got given that, basically an update with these really colourful chairs. They're so pretty. They're definitely Dragonfly Inn vibes, but I was really struggling working out how to pair them with the wood tones and the wallpaper. Oh my god, the wallpapers in this build. I think I'm really happy with how they turned out, but it was definitely like the best of a bad situation because that Realm of Magic wallpaper, it's got a gorgeous pattern on it, and the vampires one is the one that I use that you can kind of see in the living room to the right there. I use that quite a lot as well, like a couple of different swatches of it, and they've got beautiful patterned wallpapers, but the colour swatches on them are horrendous. Like, they're really offensive, and all of the wood tones on the different swatches of particularly that Realm of Magic one were just awful, and and like you can see in the library, what I had to do was, because the wood tone of that wallpaper was so orangey, I had to cover it up with bookshelves on all walls that it features on, and then I changed the wallpaper of the back wall because it was just so offensive. So yeah, that's why I've done that. But you know, I kind of made it work. I hope you think it's okay. There's not too many sort of mismatched wood tones throughout the build, because I did my best. Honestly, it was really hard, and you have no idea how much footage I edited out because, like I said, I spent hours on this build. But yes, in my Gilmore Girls videos, I tend to like to remember and reminisce about episodes that we see certain builds and characters in, and you know, fond Gilmore Girls memories. So the episode that I used as a reference for this build mainly was the first episode that Lorelai and Suki opened the inn. Oh, by the way, sorry if I forgot to mention it, that this is a bed and breakfast build. I kind of just jumped straight in there, but to anyone who's not familiar with the show, like most people who watch this probably will be, but if you're not familiar, the main character of the show, Lorelai, opens a bed and breakfast with her best friend Suki. They work in an inn together for a long time throughout the series, and then like I think it's 4 or 5 seasons in maybe, they open one together. Like it's their dream. Lorelai's been going to business school in preparation for it, and yeah, so this is the inn that they decide to open together, and it's basically her dream inn, and it's absolutely beautiful and gorgeous, and I love it. Back to the episode I was talking about. So in that episode, it's a really eventful episode. I think it's like the last in a series or something like that. So it ends up being the first episode that Luke kisses Lorelai, who are like the main couple in the show. So that's a huge deal. If you remember correctly, oh my god, the way that it happens is hilarious, typical Gilmore Girls fashion as well, because I think they kiss, they're having an argument because I think her ex-boyfriend arrives at the inn. They're all there, the whole town is there as a way of testing the inn before they open it to the public. So they're just, you know, all staying in a room, and Luke's there testing it out as one of her friends from the town, and her ex-boyfriend arrives, and their breakup was pretty nasty because he ended up suing her father or something like that. So, you know, they're not on good terms, but he wants her back basically. So he turns up and just starts welcoming himself to dinner and reading books in the library without her permission, and she's got to put on a professional face because, you know, she is technically working. So yeah, Luke sees him there and he's really upset, and they have a serious talk out by the front door on the porch outside about this. You know, it's really tense. And then Kirk comes hurtling past them because he's just had a nightmare, and he has like, I don't know what phrase he uses to describe it, but he has like really violent sleep terrors. That's it. I think he has sleep terrors where he is violent in his sleep and he has these nightmares. And then, you know, I think he invited Luke to come so that he wouldn't hurt Lulu, his girlfriend, because it's the first time that they would actually be staying the night together, Kirk and Lulu. So he asks Luke to come and listen out in case he makes any violent noises. And there's a hilarious conversation between Kirk and Luke where he says that, you know, if things are going too well, then he might be making violent noises anyway. And oh my god, and in this particular scene, Kirk just kills me. He's so funny. He is one of the best characters in the show, I swear. But yes, that was a fond moment for me, that scene. But it's also the episode when Rory loses her virginity to Dean, which is a bit of a touchy subject for me and probably many other Gilmore Girls fans, because for me it was the moment when my hatred for Rory really started to blossom. I have mentioned this before, but I hate Rory, the character Rory. I mean, this is awkward because my boyfriend's name is actually Rory, so it's quite funny when I talk about this to my friends and things like that. They're very confused. But yes, the character Rory from Gilmore Girls I despise, because, you know, she's really sweet and she's clever, she's the best in her class, and she's quite shy and reserved, and I like all of those characteristics. She's quite quirky as well, and she's not as funny as Lorelai, but she's funny in her own right, and I like that. What I don't like is the way that she pretends that she's super innocent when actually she's just a massive heartbreaker. She completely abuses uses Lindsay, Dean and Jess throughout the show. I know Jess is a bit of a complicated one because he definitely does sort of mess her around as well. But before they were even together, she kisses Jess while she's still dating Dean. If you remember at Suki's wedding by the lake, she kisses Jess. And then she goes off on this school trip and fails to communicate with Dean or Jess how she's feeling or what has happened. So Dean is, you know, she's lied to Dean. You know, she's a liar and a cheater. And then she comes back and Jess has another girlfriend. I mean, what can you expect? You don't talk to this guy after leading him on and not breaking up with your boyfriend, you know, lying to both of them essentially. And then she's absolutely horrible to Jess's new girlfriend, who is stupid, but you know, that's not necessarily a bad quality. At least she's, you know, a half decent person, it seems like, unlike Rory. And then when she's jealous of this girl, she also decides that, you know, because Jess is seeing someone, she may as well stay with Dean, and she again fails to tell him what has happened or how she really feels, and continues to lead him on whilst he's like completely in love with her, until it gets to the stage where it's so obvious that she fancies Jess that Dean breaks up with her in public, and then she has the audacity to be like sorry for herself when this happens. That scene is Dean's saviour, quite frankly. You know, it's proof that Dean isn't the most pathetic human being in the world. Rory is, because because, you know, at least he had the strength to break up with her because she was being a total manipulative, horrible person. Sorry, I'm very passionate about this subject. She really, really offends me. Like, I get that she has flaws and I get that she was confused, but like, there's no excuse for cheating. Like, she's better than that. She's an intelligent girl. Even Jess didn't cheat. Even Jess had decided that he wanted to break up with his girlfriend before he ended up dating Rory. If Jess has the sense to do that, and you don't, that is a sign to be concerned about your morals, honestly. But yes, back to what I was talking about to do with the Dragonfly Inn. Sorry, we went off on a bit of a tangent. But in that episode that I was talking about where we see the test run of the show, Rory actually isn't there because she's busy sleeping with her ex-boyfriend, Dean, who is currently married to another woman, Lindsay, who is lovely, by the way. She's not stupid or mean or anything. She's just an innocent girl who is very confused and probably a bit silly because she married so young. But she was just in love. Like, you can't blame her for that. And Rory just goes and cheats on her with Dean because, and I quote, "He's my Dean," I think she says to Lane or Lorelai. You know, "He loves me." It's like, it doesn't matter, Rory. You get the guy to break up with the girl before you sleep with him. What is wrong with you? I think that, mixed with obviously the way that she started her relationship with Jess and treats Jess, mixed with how she treats Lorelai when she then goes to live with her grandparents and how she drops out of Yale. Oh my god, she's just, I mean, I would forgive one or a few of these actions maybe, but it's the cheating for me. She, you know, I just can't deal with a cheater really. So yeah, don't like her. Sorry. I know that's an unpopular opinion with probably quite a few people that are going to be watching this video, but I just can't, I can't forgive her. I can't forgive her for that. I can't forgive her for treating poor Dean like that, because as much as I dislike Dean, you know, I would never choose to be with him myself because he's so pathetic. His poor little puppy eyes. But anyway, back to the Dragonfly Inn. There are a couple of things that I wanted to mention that I have failed to include, but I hope you'll forgive me. And that is, if you remember in that same episode that I was just talking about, the test run, the grandparents end up staying in the luxury cabin, which is a separate building from the inn itself. So I ended up not creating that because now thinking about it, I probably could have put it in that barn next to the stables, but I put like a load of hay in there. So I'm really, really sorry that I missed that opportunity. I kind of wish that I did that now. But I didn't think of it at the time, so I'm sorry. If you want me to do that before I release the save file, then please comment down below and I will happily turn that into a room. But yeah, I didn't create that because we don't see it in the show, I don't think. If we do at any point and you can remember it, please let me know that as well. But yes, all of the bedrooms upstairs we don't really see in the show apart from one, and it's the darker one. I think it's a second bedroom that I end up creating. It's like the red or orangey themed one that I do, and I based that one on the room that we see in the episode where Luke comes to stay at the inn with his girlfriend. What's her name? Nicole? I think it's Nicole. I can't remember why they stay. Maybe it was part of the medieval thing. Maybe it was something else. But for whatever reason, those two end up staying in the inn, and Lorelai comes in and has to, like, you know, do the turn down service and light the fire. And it's a really awkward scene actually to watch, because obviously I think there's some sort of tension between Luke and Lorelai. I can't remember if they dated by that point at all and they'd broken up, or if they just were sort of flirting and, you know, feel awkward around each other when one of them has a girlfriend or whatever. And I think Lorelai also wasn't sort of expecting to have to see them there for whatever reason. She was surprised by the situation, so it was a very awkward scene. But I believe that is the only time in the whole series that we see any of the rooms upstairs. Correct me if I'm wrong again. I'm really sorry if I've completely missed one of the rooms, but I based that decoration on what we see in that scene basically. So I think they had this really cool wallpaper, and it was like old maps, and it looked really beautiful, and it was quite dark, and I think the bed was like a really fancy wooden bed, and yeah, lots of reds, lots of warm colours, but quite dark. And I tried to replicate that as best I could, so I hope you like it. And then in terms of the other rooms, I basically just did my best to, you know, replicate the style of the Dragonfly Inn that we see, you know, in other rooms, and just sort of, you know, come up with what I thought each room would look like. You know, I tried to vary them as well, so, you know, I thought it would be the kind of place that each room is unique and, you know, nothing looks the same. And if you come to stay, you could request like the green room or the blue room, and they'd all have a different name and a different theme. So I thought that was a cute idea, and I hope you like them. Let me know down below which one is your favourite style of room. I think my personal favourite is the blue one. I think it's the first one that I create, and it's got that vampire wallpaper that's blue and white, and it kind of looks like decoration that you find on china, like Chinese vases and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really pretty and it's quite fancy looking. It's definitely not a style that I would have in my own house. You know, it's a little bit too bougie for me personally, but I was quite happy with how it turned out. But yeah, which room is your favourite? I really hope that we get hotels in The Sims soon. I feel like there's several rumours going around about there being like a snow pack or a ski resort pack, and because there's a sale on at the minute on Origin, we're probably going to get news of a new pack soon. So I'm really excited and hoping that's what it is, because it's winter coming up obviously, and so that would be perfect, you know, to create winter ski resort builds, that kind of thing, and have hotels where you could, you know, run a resort. But I think it was Ribbity mentioned it as an idea that she would really like bed and breakfasts as a feature to go along with that, and I completely agree. I don't think it would be that important for this build in particular to have bed and breakfast, because Lorelai and Suki don't actually live in this build at all, do they? It's as if it's like a separate hotel basically. But in general, I am desperate for The Sims 4 to add features where you can run businesses and live in the same lot, because that's how you want to play. You don't want to continually be going back and forth between lots, especially if there's a loading screen, and especially if you start from scratch and you haven't got very much money, or your Sims haven't got very much money. With that kind of gameplay, like a rags to riches style, you kind of want the opportunity to merge the gameplay in that way, especially if, for example, you were to run a bed and breakfast somewhere where your Sim would live, but maybe sort of rent out a couple of rooms. I think that would be amazing for them to add. I really hope that they do add that, because that gameplay would just be amazing. But who knows with The Sims, you never really know what you're going to get, do you? Fingers crossed for that. Let me know what you are hoping the next expansion pack is going to be, because we know it's going to be an expansion pack and we know it's going to be released soon because they did promise us that. So what are your hopes? What do you think it is? What do you want it to be? Do you think it's going to be a wintry one? I really hope it is, because we haven't got a world like that, and I really hope that they integrate the mountains well into the world and into the individual lots as well, because at the minute we only have flat lots. We don't have any like mountainous lots. And you know, I feel like when you use the terrain tool sometimes it looks so unnatural because the world around it is so flat that you can't use it well. And I hope that at least they give us a world that terrain tool will look natural in. But anyway, we're coming up to the end of the build now, so I'm gonna head off. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. Please let me know what you thought of this one, or if you think of any more episodes that the Dragonfly Inn featured in. I would love to hear them. I would love to hear you reminisce. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please like, comment and subscribe. Like I said, I post these Gilmore Girls videos every single Saturday, so please check them out if you're interested. I'll see you next time. Bye guys!